Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Crime worries in Zoso community of Mount Salem, St. James. Service suspended at Constant Spring Tax Office following fire. And later in sports, it's Reggae Boys 1, Serbia 1 in the international friendly. I'm Anthony Lugg, and here are the details. The impact of COVID-19 on mental health in Jamaica is the focus of a study which is being spearheaded by the University Hospital of the West Indies. The issue has taken prominence as more Jamaicans who've contracted the virus are showing signs of mental illness. Shemela Pullen has been speaking with consultant psychiatrist Dr. Winston Delahaye.
Thanks, Lug. This is an issue we have been exploring over the past few months. In fact, a recovering COVID patient told me she's been having sleepless nights and has been getting counseling.
I couldn't turn the light off. I still hear them pulling the thing, talking my sleep. Even though sometimes I just find myself trembling. Sometimes I still have shortness of breath. Sometimes my heart still races. But I'm doing a little counseling now.
Experts say 1 in 3 persons who contract COVID-19 suffers from mental illness. Here's what consultant psychiatrist Dr. Winston Delahaye told me.
Within that, the primary presentations included anxiety at about 17%, major depressive disorder at about 14%. There's one Rome study in Italy where they found a 30% prevalence of post-traumatic stress disorder. In addition to this, though, I must point out what we call post-COVID psychosis. So this is where, just for simplicity, amongst other things, persons who otherwise had no history of mental illness, having had the COVID virus, whether inpatient or outpatient, now started having fears which could not be corroborated by their loved ones, hearing things, seeing things.
Now, this is why a local study is currently being done to get a true picture of the situation.
These would be persons who are healthcare workers who have seen it fit to seek help. Of course, as I indicated before, there are increased risk of exposure to the virus and exposure to persons dying. So it's a major challenge.
So it's just healthcare workers or people who have, do you plan to include people who have COVID in this study?
So there are other persons looking at other areas, and I think that includes those other persons. For my particular team, it's the healthcare workers who we've been seeing over a year or more.
Shemela Pullen, TVJ News.
The Ministry of Health says by the end of this week, it expects to resolve issues which have hampered payment to some nurses who carried out duties in the COVID-19 vaccination blitz. Nurses Association of Jamaica President Patsy Edwards Henry told our news center the workers were promised an incentive in April. However, she says some nurses have received no payment while others have received a portion. In an interview this morning, Permanent Secretary in the Health Ministry, Dunstan Bryan, explained the reasons which have interrupted compensation.
Have to do with banking information, be correct, have to do with issues, system issues on our side. And some other issues have to do with reconciliation of our process. All of them will be resolved by the end of this week.
Jamaica's COVID-19 case count is inching closer to the 49,000 mark. It is now at 48,983. The Ministry of Health says 32 cases were confirmed yesterday from 397 samples. The positivity rate has increased to 7.4%. Meanwhile, a 57-year-old woman from St. James is the latest to die from COVID-19 in Jamaica. The death toll has increased to 971. And we now take a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back, continuing the news. A response this afternoon from the tourism minister following complaints from the local entertainment sector about unfair treatment. He argues that it isn't all doom and gloom. O'Shane Masters has the details.
A party in Negril, but no local selectors. Packed crowd and scant regard for the COVID-19 measures. It led to outrage from the local entertainment sector who have been asking, What about us? To date, no arrests or charges have been laid against promoters or organizers of the event dubbed MochaFest 2021. According to the police, investigations continue. Since the incident, stakeholders in the local entertainment sector have been crying foul as their earning potential have dwindled to rigid COVID-19 containment measures. However, Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says not so. He contends a number of entertainers are now benefiting from the local hotel scene over the last 6 months.
Nearly 500 million Jamaican dollars have actually been expended to provide entertainment services, in the hotels for guests who come in. So Jamaican musicians, Jamaican artists, Jamaican singers, Jamaican bands, and so on.
The tourism minister is also assuring persons in the local entertainment sector they have nothing to fear.
A new era is dawning in terms of the relationships and the linkages that tourism has to offer. And we must be prepared now to respond to it and to make sure that the prosperity that tourism can offer is realized by our local people.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has promised to take a deliberate look at ways in which the country's entertainment sector can be reopened without recording a spike in COVID-19 cases. In the meantime, the administration continues to push for increased vaccination among the population. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Fishermen at the Yalas Beach in St. Thomas who once enjoyed large catches are now struggling to earn a living as high prices for fishing materials coupled with poor fish catch continues to be a challenge. Sandy Williams reports.
Already hit by the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, fishermen in Yalas St. Thomas say high-priced materials and the increase in gas prices could further cripple the industry.
Right now we have to do most of the line we have to do now. Most of the hook and line because it's cheaper. And when you buy the wire from fishes, sometimes the wire rusty before you even get gassy. They might give you peer, it look like the scrap metal them use and melt back and make wire give you. And now it's no time.
Bobby Graham has been a fisherman at the beach for decades. His problems are compounded by the fact that his boat was recently damaged by a fire.
And the quicker I can do it, the better for me because, people right now not go on right now, and when you can't give a man a fish, it come like you give him the world.
I'm a work when I can help him, when you can't get fair, supply me again fish and other people. And people that depend on him. As bad as things isn't good, everybody eat food. The hustler can get them things. And then the fish can go over eat and feed them families.
In November last year, government announced a $120 million relief package for the fisheries sector, $30 million of which was expected to be distributed through the MPs who have fishing communities in their constituencies. Additionally, vouchers to the tune of $15,000 were given to fishermen to purchase fishing gear. When asked, Mr. Graham said he did not benefit from the relief package, but he was told by his Member of Parliament, James Robertson, to expect a grant soon. Meanwhile, there are concerns about the fish stock at sea.
From the pandemic, the fish look like them travel to take disease, some of them. You have to wonder. Because the quantity of fish is a community, they don't see that. And right now, even the currents are against because right now, you're going to say you can't find the pot them.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
Services at the Constant Spring Tax Office in St. Andrew have been suspended after a fire damaged a section of the building this morning. No one was injured. The blaze reportedly started in the Registry Department. Chief Corporation Communications Officer at the Tax Administration of Jamaica, Maris Horton, told our news center that services will resume on Wednesday.
We will be closing the location today and tomorrow because we do recognize that we will probably have to bring in a cleaning crew to have the place cleaned properly and for the smell of the smoke to be taken out. So we're just going to advise persons that they can use any other office that is convenient to them, and also to remind persons that we have a number of activities that they can access online.
The closure of schools last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic played a major role in the underreporting of sexual offenses and incidents of child abuse. That's according to the head of the Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, SISOCA, Senior Superintendent Charmaine Shand. She was reacting to the revelation in the Sunday Gleaner that 249 girls have been impregnated between January 2020 and March 2021.
We have lost two major reporting channels, and that is teachers and guidance counselors. So children are at home, and we have a lot of parents who really don't talk to their children about the topic of sex.
And SSP Shand was speaking on Power 106 Morning Agenda, where she pointed to another terrifying revelation that parents are facilitating some of these offenses.
I can tell you of a particular case where a child came to SISOCA, and in less than an hour or a hour, she was actually taken to hospital for delivery. And that parent is saying that she had no knowledge that her child was pregnant. She was eventually charged for the offense of failing to report to the Office of the Children's Registry and to the police. When these matters are placed before the court, I'm just asking that the justice system work with the police officers in sending a message, a very strong message to these parents or guardians.
The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, has rejected the government's 2.5% wage increase proposal. Former JTA President Owen Speed says the 2.5% increase is an insult to teachers. He was speaking recently at the JTA's annual general meeting held in St. James.
We deem the 2.5% offer as insulting and tantamount to a wage freeze, because when you look at what is going to come out, albeit some of the deductions, the new deductions that would have come out would be for us. For example, the pensions and
the speed.
I can't remember now the pensions, and somebody can just bear me up here. There are two deductions that would have come out. NIS and pension. When you take those out and you look at the 2.5% increase, it would be tantamount to what we consider a wage freeze, and we will have none of that.
Mr. Speed said with the increase in prices for basic commodities, the proposed increase is not enough.
Promises, and to say to them, okay, we're going to accept any 2.5. We will have to look at what is in front of us, look at what inflation is doing, look at what the dollar is doing, it is sliding, and look at the oil prices around us. Inflation is real.
Recent flooding in Wilshire, St. James has spawned calls for the authorities to improve the drainage in the area. O'Shane Masters has the details.
Long before the rainy season started, residents of Wilshire in St. James have been feeling the impact. They tell TVJ News that it takes only a shower of rain for sections of the community to be flooded.
See rain set up there. Can come down later. You can come down later, you know. And we can come out. We wash we gone.
The latest bout of rain last week heightened the residents' frustration as they say it is beginning to cost them.
Among them, I lose how much thousand. My house up there so flood out because of the water coming from Jacktop coming down. You need a challenge, wider, and that's it.
If you talk to somebody, then tell you all kind of story of who responds to that, a Debo responds to that, Mala who responds to that, them no respond to that. You can't manage that system there. But what happened now, the drain too small.
Member of Parliament for West Central St. James, Marlene Malahoo Fort, visited the area recently where work to remove the debris from the last flood was in progress. But even that is problematic for some, like this shopkeeper who complains that the waste is being dumped in front of her business.
Even as you see it right now, you say, me just looking, just sit down and just looking out and wondering what more me must do. Me can't make no money, man, and me have my bills to pay. You know, see it. And from when them have it and then say them, oh, soon move it, until now it can't move.
The authorities say a long-term solution is being explored to address the flooding in the area, but for now,
I am making some allocation from monies that I have assigned to the Member of Parliament to add on to what the councillor has to do some immediate work. But beyond that, I have asked the municipal corporation to do a proper assessment of what is required. We have to build better infrastructure for our hillside community.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And for the latest in business, we go to Cody and Barrett with a Business Minute.
In business news, Norwegian Cruise Line has abandoned plans to home port in Montego Bay, St. James. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett made the disclosure in an interview with our news team on Sunday.
Norwegian Cruise Lines have decided not to pursue the home porting in Montego Bay for the simple reason that the demand was not very strong. However, as the industry bounced back, we are going to be seeing more smaller cruise lines coming and being interested in home porting in Jamaica.
One such is Viking Cruises from Switzerland. Manufacturing and distribution company Rainforest says it's making every effort to not pass on increased prices in raw material to consumers. General Manager Jerome Miles says while the company is trying to control and manage the price increases to a minimum, there are some things which can't be controlled.
We don't control the shipping price, we don't control the movement in the dollar. So consumers may see price increases, but they're going to be related to those specific impacts as far as they have on. There is no, we will absorb some of those increases, but there is a limit to which that can be done in a business.
And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm cool.
And we head to a quick break, but Renata Brown is standing by for sports. We'll be right back. How you doing? Where's the KD in 4?
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Renata Brown. Now, the Reggae Boys were held to a 1-1 draw by Serbia in a friendly international in Japan on Monday morning Jamaica time. Simon Preston has the review.
The Jamaicans opened the scoring in the 29th minute through forward Andre Gray. This was Gray's first goal for Jamaica in only his second appearance. In the second half, the Serbs equalised through Strahinja Pavlovic in the 61st minute. The match ended 1-1 and Jamaica avoided a defeat against a UEFA nation for the first time since their 0-0 draw versus Bulgaria in 2001. Captain Damien Lowe described the result as a good one, and he reflected on his display in central midfield.
It's a new crop of players. We're not properly gelled yet. We need some more time together. But with the other guys coming in, with this performance, it's only up from here. Playing in the central midfield role, it's not new to me. I've played it before, but it's just that I haven't played it in a while. So it took a lot of focus and determination. But with my style of play, it helped the team a lot, especially breaking up tackles and, starting the high press game. So, yeah, it was good. I'm happy. It's a good result. It's a step in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to great things from this crop of players with many more additions.
The Jamaicans will next be in action on Friday evening Jamaica time against Japan's Olympic team. Simon Preston reporting for TVJ Sports.
Thanks, Simon. Now, South Africa's cricketers will warm up or wrap up their warm-up game today ahead of the first test against West Indies in St. Lucia after all members of the travelling party returned a second negative COVID-19 result at the weekend. This will be the South Africans' first bilateral tour to the Caribbean since 2010. In their last bilateral encounter in the Windies, South Africa won the 3-match test series 2-0. The visitors also hold a strong record against West Indies in tests, winning 18 of their 28 meetings with 3 defeats and 7 drawn results. And Trey Young scored 35 points as the Atlanta Hawks beat the Philadelphia 76ers 128-124 in the opening game of their NBA playoff series. Bogdan Bogdanovic and John Collins supported Young with 21 points each for the Hawks. Elsewhere, the Los Angeles Clippers beat the Dallas Mavericks 126-111 in Game 7 of their first round series. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. I'm Renardo Brown. Anthony, it's over to you.
All right, thank you, Renardo. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.